Kaduna State Economic and Investment Summit, Kadinvest 3.0, was held on the 4th and 5th of April 2018 at the Air Adwa Auditorium, bringing investors from within and outside the shores of Nigeria. The annual event, which is a brainchild of the Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai-led administration, started in 2016 with Kadinvest 1.0. In 2017, the state hosted Kadinvest 2.0. Kadinvest is geared towards showing the economic and commercial potentials of Kaduna State while also seeking to industrialize Kaduna, create employment and wealth, as well as bringing back the lost glory with which Kaduna State is known for. The Kadinvest 3.0, tagged Partnership for Development, presented the state government the opportunity to outline investments that have so far come into the state since the inception of the current administration. It goes further to also reiterate the ease of doing business environment and establish the fact that Kaduna is very much open to doing business. Kaduna Investment Promotion Agency, KADIPA, is the agency saddled with the ease of doing business agenda. A duty the agency has carried out diligently in the last 3 years, luring investment worth millions of dollars. Today, KADIPA is known to many existing and potential investors as a one-stop shop for wanting to set up any kind of business in Kaduna State. Umma Yusuf Aboki is the Executive Secretary, Kaduna Investment Promotion Agency. She welcomed all participants and stakeholders to the summit.
Our administration has been working tirelessly in the last 3 years to improve the lot of the 10 million residents who live across our 23 local government areas, investing in healthcare, agriculture, education, infrastructure, and in human capital development to improve outcomes in those areas as we strive to make Kaduna great again.
Unveiling Kadinvest 3.0 Partnership for Development, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai, gave a rundown of what his administration is doing at creating a favorable atmosphere for existing and potential investors. He also took time to enumerate some of the investments that have come into Kaduna in the last 3 years.
Olam, a Singaporean-based agribusiness, has built the largest poultry and feed mill in sub-Saharan Africa, an investment of $150 million, creating about 10,000 direct and indirect jobs here in Kaduna. We have so far attracted investment in affordable housing equivalent to about $100 million. Vicampro, another agribusiness, is building the largest potato farm and processing plant in Nigeria in Kaduna State, an investment of about $100 million. We've also attracted nearly $40 million of investment to build neighborhood centers and markets all across the state with potential jobs of over 2,000. We hope during this summit we will commission the Mahindra tractor assembly plant. This is an Indian business that will be assembling tractors here in Kaduna for the Nigeria and West African market. Sunseed Feed Mill, also in Zaria, it's a $10 million investment, creating about 300 jobs. Tomato Juice, a very interesting business. A Harvard MBA who moved to Nigeria to start a tomato business, called her company Tomato Juice, but has now moved to Kaduna, so it's actually Tomato Kaduna now, where she is doing incredible work, working with our farmers to produce more tomato in our state. Kaduna is the largest producer of tomatoes, soybeans, maize, and ginger in Nigeria, and this investment will only make us even bigger. We also have the Kaduna ICT Hub, which houses the largest business processing operation in Nigeria, a $5 million investment. And we have the Stanbic IBTC Hub and CAD STEP programs. These are all attempts to create jobs and encourage entrepreneurship in our state.
Because Kaduna State believes that private investment is the best vehicle for job creation, this edition provides opportunities for the private sector and international development finance institutions to identify opportunities in Kaduna State and consolidate on investment initiatives that drive growth and address upcoming projects.
We have other upcoming and ongoing projects. I have mentioned those that are already in the bag. These are projects that we hope that by the time you come back to Kadinvest 4.0, some of them would have taken off. We are in touch with Velisco, the Dutch company that produces African prints, to do a textile park in Kaduna. We are also working with Ala, which is one of the largest dairy companies in the world, to start a dairy farm and ranches here. Neighborhood centers will continue to do more of those, affordable housing. We're working with Jelani Aliyu to establish the Kaduna Automotive Village. We also have several solar power projects. We're privatizing our state-owned enterprises and developing green economic zone and industrial zone. We are also establishing a company, Kaduna Produce Marketing Company, to work with off-takers so that our farmers will have ready markets. Our farmers know how to farm, but they don't know how to market their products. Kaduna Produce Marketing Company Limited will work with likes of Olam, Flour Mills of Nigeria, Stallion, to be off-takers for most of our agricultural products.
The governor, speaking at the event, addressed the state's vision that by 2020, the state will be a destination for business investment.
Our hope is that by 2020, Kaduna will be a destination for business investment and the food basket of northern Nigeria, where all citizens have access to quality healthcare and education, so we're investing in human capital. All citizens will live and move freely without fear of harm, and will provide a transparent and accountable government with highly motivated and efficient civil service. Over the 5-year period of the plan, investments of over 800 billion naira, equivalent then of about $4 billion, are targeted for public-private partnerships. So how has the private sector responded since we unveiled the plan? We have been, I will say, with all sense of modesty, quite successful. Our investment summit, as Mr. President observed in his goodwill message, is not a talk shop.
The Speaker, Kaduna State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Amin Abdullahi Shagali, in his speech, disclosed that the legislative arm of Kaduna State Government has been working with the executive to deliver dividends of democracy to the populace and will continue to make those laws that will positively impact on the state.
The Kaduna State House of Assembly works harmoniously with the state executive and guide economic policy towards economic diversification, investment attraction, and ease of doing business in the states. Through its legislative functions, Kaduna State House of Assembly has passed over 60 bills. Some are private member bills, and others emanated from the executives. There are a lot of motions. Some of these bills are geared toward ensuring peace, access to land, ease of doing business, ease of even doing business registration, and this make Kaduna State an investment haven.
In her remarks, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Industry, Trade and Investment, Jumoke Oduwole, said Kadinvest 3.0 provides a platform for demonstrating that Kaduna State is open for business. She added that Kaduna State has demonstrated firm commitment to achieving sustainable economic growth by legislating to make it easier to do business and align its budget to capital expenditure to build human capital and infrastructure.
Kaduna State has been a leading partner with the federal government in the area of ease of doing business. And when I see a session on competitiveness, on economic development, we can't but dwell on what makes an economy competitive. Watching Kaduna State, you see an airport, dry port, cornered the railways, access through roads, everything that it takes to make a regional hub.
Dr. Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete is the former president of Tanzania. He presented the keynote address on partnership for development.
When they say we go to Kaduna, the first question is they ask, what is there? Why should we go there? What are we going to benefit from there? I'm glad the Kaduna State government appreciates this fact. In the Kadipa document called Invest in Kaduna State, prepared for this forum, the investment opportunities and potential which Kaduna State has to offer have been very well narrated. Indeed, this state has immense investment opportunities.
According to Dr. Kikwete, commercial agriculture, agro-allied industries, power, renewable energy, transportation, solid minerals, ICT services, hospitality, leisure and tourism, housing, education, healthcare, waste to wealth, and light manufacturing are major sectors of interest of the Kadinvest 3.0, the third edition of the Kaduna Economic and Investment Summit.
It takes investments to turn arable land into a farm producing agricultural crops and a ranch producing meat and milk. It takes investments to build factories, residential houses, office blocks, shopping malls, cinema halls, stadiums, logistics centers, and generate incomes to those who have invested. It takes investments to build schools, hospitals, ports, airports, railways, waterways, water and power supply systems to improve people's living standards. It takes investments to have in place well-functioning governments, defense and security establishment, parliaments, courts of law to provide services to the people and ensure progress, safety, security, and justice in societies and nations. Without investments, all these and many more I have not mentioned will not be possible.
The attempt to create opportunities and build investments attracted goodwill messages from guests, appreciating the state, its vision and mission. First to speak was the Oni of Ife.
Kaduna Investment Initiative, the third edition, is a beautiful one, and I will implore each and every one of us to all join hands to make sure that it will continue to be a very impactful initiative. It won't be one of the talk jamborees that we usually do in this country. All of us, we all have one role or the other to play in such a beautiful initiative. The governor cannot do it alone. His executive members cannot do it alone. We should all come together and form a formidable force to make things work.
Thereafter, eminent personalities and other stakeholders bared their minds on Kaduna Economic and Investment Summit since inception in 2016 and the Kadinvest 3.0 in particular.
We have watched the investment summit evolve from Kadinvest 1.0 to 2.0 to now 3.0, and I'm very pleased with the stages and the way it has evolved. We have enjoyed our partnership with Kaduna State. We have partnered with you in agriculture. We have expressed interest in partnering with you in power, particularly hydropower, healthcare, and other aspects of infrastructure. Your Excellency, what I will say is that capital goes to where capital is welcome. And to that extent, we're very pleased with the way our effort with Kaduna State has been welcomed and the way your team continues to respond to us. We've also watched as you lay the foundations of developing infrastructure in a sustainable manner in the state. And to that extent, sir, we will say that the benefit of this, as it comes through, will be very evident in the way investors respond to you. And from what we have seen so far, your work is very well received and highly commended.
And we want to assure you, Mr. Governor, that South Africa remains ready to partner with the state of Kaduna in various areas of investment. There are many opportunities that you have highlighted, one amongst which is tourism, which South Africa is quite very strong in. We look into those possibilities here in Kaduna. The hotel industry in Kaduna presents a lot of opportunities for South Africa. You have railroad. We traveled by train when we arrived here yesterday. It was a very fantastic journey. We wish that one of our companies, Transnet, can get involved in the future to partner with the state of Kaduna.
The Senior Vice President of Olam Group and the Executive Secretary, Nigeria Shipping Council, also had these to say.
We are here today to say thanks to entire Kaduna government team, His Excellency, the way they had welcomed us and supported on each and every aspect that we had delivered our project in 9 months. That was a great achievement, and each and every aspects where we can get a little issues also, when we call any of the member of the government house says we got resolved within hours. That was the very great support to us.
I must here register my appreciation to the Kaduna State government for the cooperation that it has given building roads, infrastructure, and other amenities, especially towards the successful implementation of the dry port. I therefore use this opportunity to ask all the investors to please come and utilize this port. You can export, you can also import. This is a port of destination. You can consign your cargo from everywhere in the world. Right now, the operators of Kaduna Dry Port are opening office in China and London so that they will canvass for cargo to come to Kaduna directly. Nigerian Railway Corporation is going to give 20 wagons just for the operation of the Kaduna Dry Port. So, port has been brought to Kaduna, and I'm sure you will utilize it.
When I came to meet him immediately after he won the elections, to know what I could do, what Skipper could do for the state, he had a list of uncompleted projects, a list which was very exhaustive, done by a very famous consulting firm. His aim was first to complete all those projects which were uncompleted. That is what we saw today in this summit. The roads have been completed, the waterworks has been completed, and even we were doing the Kaduna power plant. We did our contribution, and another contractor is doing his own power plant, and the power will be there in the next few days. So that is how a successful leader does his job successfully and differently.
One of the major components of the Kaduna Economic and Investment Summit is the plenary session. The session brings professionals, industrialists, members of the academia, top government officials and investors to the high table to brainstorm on a chosen issue or topic while proffering solution and a way forward at the summit. 2 plenary sessions were held on day 1 of the summit. The first was on sustainable infrastructure development. The session was moderated by Barbara Burungi, Managing Partner, Imara Africa Consultant. Other members of the panel include Dr. Femi Fagbule, Vice President, Africa Finance Corporation; Balaraba Aliyu Inuwa, the Commissioner for Works, Housing and Transport, Kaduna State; Uche Orji, Managing Director and CEO, Nigeria Sovereign Investment Authority; Jitendra Kumar Sakdeva, President, Skipper Company, and Ibrahim Dikko, Managing Director, Backbone Connectivity Network.
Kaduna State is investing both in core physical infrastructure and in its citizens as well. Since the Bill Gates visit and comment on investing in people, there seems to be a national narrative on investing in people and forgetting that a prerequisite to do this is to have the necessary infrastructure. So in order to have school feeding programs, you need to have the students seated in well-built and well-equipped schools, and that is what Kaduna State is trying to do.
Most projects in the country are not prepared for private sector participation immediately. They're prepared for the government to fund it. Government budget is very small. Government budget takes a long time. And this is why you start a project sometimes 10 years, 15 years, it's not done. The discipline of bringing private capital and bringing the money you need is that you can actually get it done on time and on budget. So the summary of what I'm trying to say is that yes, it can be done. $66 billion is not an impossible amount of money, but the projects have been prepared day 1 for private sector participation, and then we must create vehicles such as the InfraCredit and expand it such that we can bring funds from the likes of pension funds, insurance companies, and all these other pools of capital that do not exist at the moment to actually become a member, be able to invest in these projects.
And as my friends rightly said, the need for money, the cheap money, the long-term money is also very well arranged actually. The Indian funding for $30 million which came for the development of various solar and the substations for the driving of power in whole of the green economic zones as well as in the train railway sector, the new rail coming up and the economic zones coming up. That's well taken care, and I have seen the leadership is very particular about not borrowing too much, rather bringing the investors to come and do it. That's what we are doing. We are investing in the green economic zone, we are investing in the rail, and we are bringing other investors along with us. So the track is absolutely perfect.
To be part of the recent licensing by the regulator to get fiber into every local government area in the country. We're proud to say that we are the recipient of the Northwest InfraCo license. We intend to invest $250 million over the next 4 years to build infrastructure across the whole of the Northwest region, with Kaduna as the headquarters of the InfraCo.
The second plenary session was on positioning Kaduna State for competitiveness. The session was moderated by Idris Inyam, Permanent Secretary, Kaduna State Ministry of Finance. Other panelists are Sharif Balogun, former President, Nigeria America Chamber of Commerce, Kaduna; Umma Yusuf Aboki, Executive Secretary, Kaduna Investment Promotion Agency, Kadipa; Umar Mohammed, Private Sector Consultant; Jumoke Oduwole, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Industry, Trade and Investment, Suleiman Yusuf, CEO, Blue Camel Energy Limited, Tarun Das, Managing Director, Springfield Mahindra Tractor Assembly Plant, Ade Adefeko, Head Corporate and Government Relations, Olam Grains.
But Kaduna State is actually one of the few states that was ahead of the curve, already had its ease of doing business charter, and was already liaising directly with the World Bank. So when you have reforms like tax consolidation, starting a business, a land registry, Kaduna State has benchmarked with the global standards and was not waiting for even a federal initiative to coordinate all the states. Now, it's worked very well because when we did come to have this collaboration, Kaduna was able to be a peer-to-peer, the very first stakeholder engagement we had with all the states, August last year.
I think without a doubt, as has been echoed by most of the participants here, first and foremost, the political will to actually set up an investment promotion agency is without a doubt one of the key indicators that indicates to the private sector that a state is ready for business. And obviously, we've seen the figures that have been bandied, about 198 new investments coming to the state, and I'm sure that there are a whole lot more in the pipeline.
Areas of job creation and
At the end of day one of the summit, participants bared their minds on what they have learned and also expressed their views on the summit as a motivation and opportunity for investments at all levels in Kaduna State.
I think as Kaduna State continues to attract private investors, it's very easy for the financial services sector to support those private investors, and that is what we're doing. They have brought in a lot of credible companies in the key sectors, in agriculture, in manufacturing, and in power, and we will sit down with those companies and provide financial support for them. The job of the government is to provide the right policies, and Kaduna is doing that.
Every time, now and then, a state will have to examine the potentiality it has, the advantages it has, and to call people to come and partake in that. You have to grow the industries, you have to grow the employment, you have to grow the GDP of the state. And that is what Kaduna State government is doing. It's a very commendable thing, and I think there will be tremendous benefit from this effort.
The people of Kaduna should expect more industries being commissioned, more investments coming to the state, and more job opportunities for our young people.
Kaduna Economic and Investment Summit, since inception, came with plenty of opportunities. Indeed, many investors from within and outside Nigeria have leveraged on the ease of doing business atmosphere created by the Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai administration. Today, many companies abound in the state, while many more are expected. We thank all our current investors in Kaduna State and promise you our continued support. Nasir Ahmed El-Rufai.